Discerning Shoes here for blue collar prepping. Forgive the mess. Lots of projects. You can see them all over my YouTube channel if I ever get them done. And a few weeks ago, talking about minimalist prep for inclement weather, getting home, things like that. You know, if everything you have to carry on you. You know, and I got here my little bag, shopping bags here, so I can make my feet waterproof. And I got my fire starter with a little bit of duct tape, tissues for tinder, or wiping my face, a little bit of parachute cord, 550 cord, and, you know, remnants of my Mylar bag. And, you know, as you can see, it's really big. And as you can recall, or if you don't recall, please go back and watch, where when I pulled this out and I put it on my body, I talked about taping it together, making a poncho, if you will, or an underliner for whatever else your clothing that you might have. Or here, your raincoat. Remember, we got this small poncho we can put underneath, or over top of all of our insulatory layers. And I thought, well, here you can see where I put it back together. And sure, it could get smaller like that, but I've made modifications to it. I thought in my head, why not convert this to a poncho ahead of time? And that way I could just pull it out of a small pouch, maybe not as small as before, but I could just put it over my head and then put the rain poncho over it. So when it's super cold and you got to get super warm or super fast, you don't have to mess with it. So that's what I did. Pull it open here. And we're going to work on how we pack that to make that as small as possible. Ta-da! I don't know if you can see that with all the bright shininess and the light and everything, but that's duct tape. And there's a hole. And how is that hole there? I'll show you. And there you go. I now have a poncho for underneath my poncho. Help insulate myself. I'm already getting warm. I can feel it. It's almost uncomfortable here in the house. So, simple thing to do. Took some nice handy scissors. You see them there? Some duct tape, and of course my always faithful and handy Sharpie. You know, the great thing about the Mylar bag is that they're so folded up, they already have creases in them, and it's a rough approximation of equidistance. So, I folded it in half. Get it on my head. And the first thing that I did is I ran a piece of tape along that crease there, all the way across. And then, and I don't know if you can see this in this light or not, it's hard for me to see on this side. You'll see that there's a line of Sharpie that I followed some of the creases on here. Right there. And so actually I determined that was a little bit too long because I went on both sides of this halfway point. And so actually I only want 2 squares on each side of it, and it gave me plenty of big enough hole for my head. You could actually, your melon wasn't as large, you could make it quite a bit smaller. Then I used my shears to cut the Mylar. Now, a word of caution. I was fortunate because I was careful that I didn't rip the Mylar. You've got to be careful. It cuts very, very easily this way in the long way or longitudinally down, and that's where actually you could get it to start to rip. And I actually started to rip it in one spot, and I caught it, and so I didn't get very far. This way, latitudinally, it's difficult to cut. It's not impossible, but you got to be careful. But the rips really didn't occur that way. They occurred this way. So you want to be careful. Then my handy duct tape and my scissors. I made myself a hem. My duct tape, it's a piece of duct tape on each side, as you can see. Now you want to make sure that there's no sticky part of the tape showing, because like when I unfolded it earlier, my first attempt at this video, before I was rudely interrupted, it was sticking and it didn't come out very, very cleanly. So now this time I have all my edges folded over. I'm double checking. Yep. So none of the sticky part is out where it's going to catch the rest of the Mylar. And that could create problems, you know. And it might end up ripping if you're in a big hurry. And I'm at a tilt. I just noticed I'm at a tilt. So my apologies on that. My interruption just threw me all up a miss. So there's a quick and easy way to make yourself a very nice poncho. You know, a little bit of duct tape, marker, scissors, and there you go. And so then when we're going to fold this back, now this isn't exactly even, and I don't care. The world doesn't, sorry, super loud. The world doesn't really fit in neat little squares, and neither do I. So, and neither do my projects if you haven't noticed before. Now, so we're going to fold this up, and it's not going to be as fat and as thin as this. It'll be roughly approximately the same surface area, but it's not going to be the same cubic area. So we're going to find ourselves a little pouch, or just grab another little Ziploc bag, and we'll stack it on top of that, in this. And then next week, I'll show you what we're going to go moving forward. I mean, this year is going to be the year of minimalist carry, so whatever vehicle and where we're at, we can just walk away with everything in our pack. And I'm going to show you how that works in a pack that I have. So, as always, be good, be safe. If you can't be safe, be good and dangerous.